Kuchisake Onna, The Night Parade of 100 Demons, Ryomen Sukuna. These three topics merely scratch the surface of Jujutsu Kaisen's various mythological inspirations. Anime has a rich history of being inspired by various world mythologies and folklore, from the majestic or even fantastical to the dark and terrifying. Jujutsu Kaisen is one of many anime and manga that prefers the latter. There is seemingly no end to the amount of influence that folk tales from Japan's storied past have on the popular anime. From ominous curses to vengeful spirits, from deified heroes to demonized tyrants. This epic world is bursting with influence from regional as well as national folklore. I am Dark the Lad, and I'm about to dive into the world of myths, folklore, and anime. Kuchisake Onna, otherwise known as the Slit-Mouthed Woman, is a yokai, which is usually used as a catch-all term for many supernatural beings in Japan, or sometimes referred to as a yurei, which is a more specific term typically translating to ghost or apparition. This spirit from urban legend was made popular in Japan's Edo period, and is one of the vengeful cursed spirits that Suguru Geto has under his control. She is used in his battle with Toji Fushiguro in the Hidden Inventory / Gojo's Past arc. The origins of this legend come from the Heian period, and is seen by some as a cautionary tale about unfaithfulness in marriage. The story of how this spirit was made tells about a stunningly beautiful, but very vain woman, who was married to a samurai. One day her vanity drove her to cheat on her husband, and when the samurai learned of the affair, he fell into a rage and slit her mouth from ear to ear. After this, he asked her, "Who will find you beautiful now?" As with most cultures that have ghost stories, spirits of those killed violently typically cannot rest in peace. Later, it was said that her ghost would wander the streets at night, with her face covered by a cloth mask, her own black hair, or sometimes even a fan, and when she found a stranger, she would ask them, "Watashi kirei?" which translates to, "Am I beautiful?" If the stranger answered yes, then she would remove her face covering, revealing her grotesque mouth, and ask, "Kore demo?" which can be translated as, "Even now?" If the stranger then answers no, or if they screamed in fear, she would slice their mouth with a pair of scissors, or in some stories a knife, giving them a matching smile to hers. However, if you think answering yes would save you, then think again. Answering yes once she has revealed her wound would lead her to follow you home after initially walking away and murdering you on your doorstep. It is said the only way to escape her is to give her quick or ambiguous answers to confuse her, giving you enough time to escape. Like most urban legends, the details often vary depending on the person telling the story or the region it's being told in. In some alternate versions of the tale, answering no from the start will get you killed. Answering no to the second question will get you cut up by her scissors, or sometimes cut in half. And answering yes to the second question will get you slit across the mouth. It would appear that this is the interpretation that inspired her appearance in Jujutsu Kaisen. As in the anime, her appearance traps Toji in a simple domain, enforcing non-violence on the two of them until he answers her. Then when he does answer her, she is seen prepared to cut him in multiple places. In the 1970s, this legend saw a resurgence throughout Japan when it was said that a woman with a slit mouth, covered by a surgical mask, was asking the legendary question, and then chasing children throughout the streets at night, and even led to teachers escorting children home and police increasing their patrols just in case. There are multiple accounts on how the new rumor got started, but it spread quickly across Japan, as there was an increased number of children going to cram schools, making it easier to spread the rumor from region to region. Kuchisake Onna is one of Japan's earliest and most long-living ghost stories dating back centuries. At one time, it was even believed that this terrifying apparition was actually just the work of mischievous, shape-shifting kitsune, or spirit foxes, playing tricks on young men. Kuchisake Onna has permeated much of Japanese culture, appearing not only in Jujutsu Kaisen, but many other anime and manga. She even inspired her own manga, Kuchisake Onna Densetsu, and even a 2007 film, Carved, the Slit-Mouthed Woman. She is without question a prominent figure in the history of Japanese folklore, but perhaps not as prominent as the Hyakki Yagyo. The Hyakki Yagyo, otherwise known as the Night Parade of 100 Demons, is not only one of the primary plot points of the Jujutsu Kaisen Zero movie, but is also a tale steeped in Japanese mythology. It is a night when supernatural beings of all types parade through the streets of Japan, wreaking havoc along the way. Yokai, or demons, Oni, or ogres, Tsukumogami, Yurei. These are only a few of the types of beings you may find making merriment and causing mayhem in the streets during the Hyakki Yagyo. It is like that of your typical Japanese festival, filled with dancing and singing. Other times, it is chaos. And this is the interpretation that lends itself to Jujutsu Kaisen's version, as initiated by Suguru Geto when he released a large number of cursed spirits that he had under his control to further his goals. Geto unleashed the parade on the cities of Kyoto and Shinjuku. Kyoto in particular is crucial to the legend of this night parade. A long time ago, Kyoto was known as Heian-kyo and was the capital of Japan from 794 to 1868. On the northern end of the city was a street known as Ichijo Dori, more commonly known today as Ichijo Yokai Street. South of this street is where humans lived, and no human lived north of the street, as it was considered the border between the human world and the dark spirit world. It was this street where the tale of the first encounter with the Hyakki Yagyo was said to have happened. Some tales tell of a nobleman who returned home from imperial court to find his home infested with yokai, and after praying all night to Buddha, was able to dispel them. Alternatively, another version states that he encountered the demons on the way to imperial court, when they ambushed his cart. These are just two of several versions of the tale, and some are darker than others. Legends of the Night Parade of 100 Demons state that the parade is led by three notable yokai, one of which being Nozuchi, which are very large, hairy, snake or caterpillar-like creatures, with no facial features, save for a large mouth found at the top of their heads. They are said to be slow, but nest in large trees, and while don't typically attack humans, have no issue with biting and killing any human that approaches their nest. Their bites usually lead to a feverish death. The second yokai leading this demonic parade is the Otoroshi. These elusive creatures are often depicted as large four-legged beasts with unruly manes, with claws and tusks, and usually have blue or orange skin. They are most commonly found in high places such as a roof or archway near shrines or other holy places, and defend these places from wicked humans. When they attack, they pounce on their prey, tearing them to shreds and devouring the rest. Their name is believed to be a corruption of the word Osoroshi, which means scary or frightening. The third, and arguably most prominent of these three yokai, is Nurarihyun. At first glance, this yokai seems harmless. This being appears as an old man with an elongated, gourd-shaped head, usually wearing a silk kimono or other lavish garbs, and carries himself with an air of sophistication. Nurarihyun is the most powerful yokai and is considered the master of all monsters. He may slip unnoticed into a person's home and help himself to whatever they have. His power is great enough that even once the homeowner becomes aware of his presence, they are powerless to do anything about it. The mayhem depicted in Jujutsu Kaisen's Night Parade of 100 Demons is not that different from the actual dangers of the Parade of Legend. Humans are encouraged to stay indoors as the parade passes by, for the many yokai that make up the demonic procession may consume the soul of any unfortunate person who finds themselves caught in the parade. To this day, Kyoto still recognizes and performs the Hyakki Yagyo as a festival where people dress up as yokai and parade through the street. It is one of the handful of legends that has transcended its dark origins and has become a fun tradition in Japanese culture. Unlike Kuchisake Onna and the Night Parade of 100 Demons, Ryomen Sukuna is not purely confined to legend, and is a figure that has a presence in both the real history of Japan, as well as the world of myth. Reference to this namesake for the major Jujutsu Kaisen antagonist can be found in the Nihon Shoki, the first official Japanese history book. The Nihon Shoki was completed in the year 720, and compiles information from not only Japan's real-world history, but from its earlier mythological age, and is an important source for Shinto thought. So it is no surprise that Ryomen Sukuna is one being that blurs the line between myth and historical fact. The Nihon Shoki, however, chooses to detail Sukuna much as he is described in the anime. A translation of the passage speaking of Sukuna can be seen here. In the province of Hida, there was a man called Sukuna, who was so formed that on one trunk he had two faces. The faces were turned away from each other, the crowns met, and there was no nape of the neck. Each had hands and feet. There were knees, but no popliteal spaces or heels. He was strong and nimble. He carried swords on his right and on his left side. He used a bow and arrow with all four hands at once. On this account, he was disobedient to the imperial command, and took pleasure in plundering the people. Hereupon the emperor sent Nanhika Neko Takefurukuma, ancestor of the Omi of Wani, who put him to death. Ryomen Sukuna was believed to be a man of demonic strength and brutality who ravaged the land and terrorized the people. The description of him wielding a bow and arrow may have inspired one of his signature attacks in the anime. Adding to the power and terror of the anime counterpart is his domain expansion, Malevolent Shrine. This domain resembles a fallen and twisted Buddhist temple, and the hand seal he uses to summon his domain is a mudra, invoking the king of hell, Enmaten, otherwise known as Enma or Yama. However, there is more to the tale of Sukuna than simply being a demonic scourge rampaging across the land. Hida is the northern part of what is known today as Japan's Gifu Prefecture. And there is another tale that comes from this region that differs wildly from the story told in the Nihon Shoki. For in this part of Japan, Ryomen Sukuna is considered by many to be a hero who brought the teachings of Buddhism to the region, and some even consider him to be an incarnation of Kannon, the Bodhisattva of mercy. In some parts, he was even deified with statues of his likeness in temples, and his name appearing in popular tourist spots. Some believe that he was the leader of the Hida province at one time, but would not submit to the imperial family, so they had him defamed and demonized through the spread of propaganda before finally having him killed. Regardless of what is fact or fiction, Ryomen Sukuna is a demon to many, but considered a hero and a great man in parts of the land where his legend originated. The explosive popularity of Jujutsu Kaisen has led many fans to flock to Japan to see the statue of the so-called King of Curses. The author of Jujutsu Kaisen, Gege Akutami, chose to base his rendition of Ryomen Sukuna on the description provided by the Nihon Shoki. Regardless of whether or not he was a hero or a walking disaster, historical fact or completely fictional, Sukuna will likely continue to ignite the imagination and curiosity of generations of anime fans to come. The three topics discussed in this video are only some examples of the myths and folklore that have been injected into the story and world of Jujutsu Kaisen. There is far more to explore, so if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe so that you don't miss any future uploads. I'm Dark the Lad, and this has been Myths, Folklore, and Anime.